relationships with Him and God. Actually, I preach the retreat usually on this scale. Most of the people I follow medium, that means 3 to 5 throttle level. As I said earlier today morning, let us think about the international community. You are not separated, you are not isolated from them. We are all in union. This is CAB 26 right here. You are representing your own schools and institutions, about your own community, your children, the future generations. Oh my God. Montfort brothers have been doing wonderful work in the past, now. And also you have to usher in the future concept of future generations. So your learning is not going to be limiting only to this generation. Your learning is going to be extended to the future generations. So we are thinking about the future also. The past, the present, and the future with the international community. This is the integral approach. Pope Francis all the time talking integral ecology to differentiate between the business as usual models of development. Business as usual model always isolate. Economy is somewhere, ecology is outside, politics is outside, they don't come integral at all. Politics blames economy, economy blames ecology, all the time because we are isolated, we are compartmentalized. That's why we can find fault, we can accuse others. When you compartmentalize something, then you can accuse. That is how the business as usual models, they distort the reality. But Pope Francis says, no. From now on, there is no isolated, no compartmentalizing of economy, politics, ecology, environment. No. Everything is together. Only one box. Ecology there, economy there, environment there, society there, politics there. Everything is integral. In that way, you are not going to accuse anybody. If you are going to destroy the creation or ecology, you are going to be destroying yourself. So far you thought because you are compartmentalized, I will be safe, only ecology will be destroyed. That is the illusion, what we had. But now, when you destroy ecology for your own progress, that is not the progress, it is a destruction. So that is the integral ecology model. So thank God Pope Francis wrote in 2015 Laudato Si, just before COP 25 in Paris. You remember that 5 years ago? COP 25 took place in Paris. Just 6 months before, he published Laudato Si. So it was a great success. But just before a year, Pope Francis published Fratelli Tutti. Fratelli Tutti. In view of COP26. Very well timed. So already the international community have gone through the document, both the documents, and Pope Francis is having a great influence on this international summit. And see the word they are using, solidarity. That's the word used in Fratelli Tutti. It is known as the solidarity and social friendship. That is Fratelli Tutti, the translation of it. So that is the word they are using exactly. Wow, this is amazing. So it's going to be a great, great meeting. The outcome is going to be very positive, I hope. I think we are going to do something good, which our future generations will be talking for the time to come. They will be proud about us. This is Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of England, was repeating this phrase used by Greta Thunberg, that girl, young activist. So that is, she told these climate change, business and so on, 26 of them already taken place. They are just a blah, 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 blah. This is the expression now everybody is using in the international level. Also you can use, it's a new phrase now. Because of this climate change, this is the thing catching up, blah, blah, blah. I hope this retreat will not be a blah, blah, blah. I hope your meeting, Montfort meeting for sustainability is not a blah, blah, blah. So you can use that term. Greta Thunberg dismissed promises made by world leaders, including Boris Johnson. Yesterday he gave a speech, blah, blah, blah. Ooh. Boris Johnson, he spoke to the international community. I hope this meeting will not be a blah, blah, blah. Means no outcome. Okay, that is the meaning of it. Today morning she repeated again, ooh, Greta Thunberg, including Boris Johnson and just blah, blah, blah at the opening of the Youth Climate Conference yesterday. So this, I hope it will not be, I hope. It's just funny way of putting it, yeah. I think Pope Francis is very practical. What can we do? He is explaining in Laudato Si, the last chapter, 3 practices fix to ecological crisis, I call it. One is ecological lifestyle. That is Laudato Si, paragraph numbers. You can take the PowerPoint. Every day you will get the PowerPoint in your mobile. So you don't even try to write. You just listen to me. That's it. You don't even write. Don't lift up your pen. Nothing. Everything will be given to you. All right. Then second is ecological education. Very important. That is what I am trying to do in my life, going around and doing that second one. The third one is ecological spirituality. So these 3 practices can fix ecological crisis. Not the climate change conference. In fact, these conferences, they don't fix anything. They increase more trouble. Because of this conference, every leader of the world has gone in their own private jet, private airplane. Even Narendra Modi took his own Boeing 777 and polluted the whole world. Can you imagine? It's an illusion. You see, they are going to talk about climate change action. Everybody goes in a private jet and also their own personal car, another airplane, are carrying them to Glasgow. This is unbelievable. Even now, everybody goes in their private jet. Imagine the amount of paper they are going to waste. Imagine the 5-star hotels, the water, and all the carbon footprint. Just imagine. No, we don't get it. We don't get it. So blah, blah, blah. Sadly. Only these 3 things are going to fix it. Yes. Ultimately, individual. Laudato Si 2:14, Pope Francis is writing, all Christian communities have an important role to play in ecological education. It is my hope that our seminaries and houses of formation will provide an education in responsible simplicity of life, in grateful contemplation of God's word, and in concern for the needs of the poor and the protection of the environment. So this is the one. Actually, the immanent God concept, it starts in ecological education and moves to ecological spirituality, of course. Actually, the immanent God concept can be only experienced. It cannot be taught. But we can try to teach. But it doesn't end there. It ends in experience. You have to. Transcendental God is only education. There is no experience there. only about philosophy, about dogma, about theology, all our catechism lessons, all of them are about education, catechism we call it. That's it. There is no experience. We don't see any pope as the experience of God. They know God, but there is no experience of God. But Eastern spirituality is even an ordinary man, even an ordinary beggar in some context, they have the experience of God, the immanent God concept. So that is what the difference is here. And Pope Francis is writing in the paragraph number 66 about these three relationships we are talking about. The relationship of God, neighbor, and creation itself. So these are the three relationships what we are going to discuss during this week. So I invite one of the brothers, start from here, to help me read out the document, because we are going to be concerned with Laudato Si and Fratelli Tutti. The document should be read very clearly. There is no point of me talking about it. You have to see the words and read it, because it's very important that you read and understand. So this is the basic text I took, paragraph number 66, in order to educate you on the theme of our retreat. Okay, brother, start.
Relationship with God, neighbor, and creation. 66. The creation occurs in the book of Genesis, contained in their own symbolic and narrative language. Profound teachings about human existence and its historical reality. They suggest that human life is grounded in three fundamental and closely intertwined relationships. One with God, second with our neighbor, third and with our earth itself.
Continue.
According to the Bible, these three vital relationships are being broken, both outwardly and within us. This rupture is sin. The harmony between the Creator, humanity, and creation as a whole was disrupted by our pursuing to take the place of God and refusing to acknowledge our creaturely limitations.
Exactly. See, sin is committed. Basically, what we understand is distortion in these three areas. That is the sin. When you snap out your relation to God or neighbor or creation, that is the sin. Basically. Actually, all the holy books talk about only these three. Every holy book, whether it's a Quran or a Avesta or a Charaka Sutra or a Dao or a Bible or Bhagavad Gita, all of them talk about only this relationship, nothing else. All the scriptures, they summarize these three relationships, nothing else, nothing else. Old Testament, New Testament, only three relationships, nothing else. It is like three-phase line. Everybody is aware of it, isn't it? Every house has got three phases. Especially in Tamil Nadu, we have three phases. And the problem is, it's supposed to be, if one line goes out, the other two should work. That is why we get three-phase line. But I have never witnessed when one line goes off, other two lines work. All of them go out. In Tamil Nadu especially. It is not one line, all the three will go out. Anyway, it has got a very theological importance, this example. Tamil Nadu government is giving you one of the theological examples for us. Just it tells you, if you snap out one relationship, that is, relationship with God is no good in your life, the other two areas also not good. So thanks for the Tamil Nadu Electricity Board, such a beautiful teaching they are giving us. You should remember Tamil Nadu Electricity Board. Also Karnataka also, I think, basically. So if your relationship with the human is not going well, but you You are thinking an illusion, no? No, my prayer life is good. No, you are a liar. If your relationship with your neighbor is no good, naturally it's not good with God and also creation. So if you treat soil as a waste basket and you spit everywhere, and you say, my relationship with God is so good, no, you are a liar again. Your relationship with God and neighbor, no good. So, in these three areas, always there should be a balance. All the time they should be in working condition. When one snaps out, the other two also snap out. So all the time they should be protected. All the time. So that is the point I want to give you at the beginning of the retreat. All right, we come back to our theme now, the God of immanence. The God of immanence. For Indians, it is not a strange concept. God of immanence. Bhagavad Gita is full of it. Hinduism, full of it. God of immanence. The Vedas and Upanishads, full of it. It is a strange concept for Western religions, but for Eastern religions, I think we are in it. Transcendental, we celebrate in the book of words. Everybody knows how to read the book of words. Everybody has it. We call it a Bible. But the immanent God can be understood only in the book of works. There are two different Bibles. One is book of words, another one is book of works. So you need to know what book of works is in order to understand the concept, the aspect of the immanent God. In that area, we know it, but we didn't practice it. We have to admit that. So today, if you are looking for, oh Lord, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa, all the retreats are about finding yourself, oh, I made a mistake. So in this area, we make mistake here. We didn't know how to decipher God's presence in creation. Even though we were educated very early in our school days. So God of transcendence refers to God's presence beyond creation. That's why in my introduction I told you the God came. St. Luke puts it, there was no place in the inn. That is the words, no? There was no place for you in the inn. In other words, there is no place for God in human history. Tamil, it will sound much better. Sattirathil idamillai. That is the Tamil word we use. Small, I hope Bible translators, I wish that they made a small mistake there. Sattirathil alla, sarithirathil. Sarithirathil idamillai. Sattirathil idamilla, sarithirathil idamillai. So that is what humanity has done. They proclaim loud and clear, God, there is no place for you in human history. Rejected. So the people, even the apostles, followers also, towards the end, after the resurrection, they took him back to the mountain and goodbye, take the plane and leave the planet. We don't want you here. Out. Goodbye. Feast of the Ascension. We are celebrating now. So completely we want to see God out of this universe. The mistake, terrible mistake we have made. So God of immanence refers to God's presence in creation. Where is he now? Where is he? He is not only God of creation, he is God in creation. That part we did not develop. Sad. So now I want to tell you that there are only two components or two factors in the universe. They are Non-living and living. That's it. Technically, we call them abiotic and biotic. So now, how to decipher the presence of God in the abiotic factors? If you can do that, you can easily do it on the biotic factor. Yes. Actually, many people are trying to explain about it, and many people able to see God's presence, everything. Even our Christian early church fathers were able to see the manifestation of God in mountains, rivers, animals, and plants, and deserts, caves, and mountains, rocks. They were able to see that. So, even today, some people practice, even among you, already you are seeing the presence of God in the whole of creation. That immanent God you are seeing, you are able to see. Without all these words, you are able to see that. But only when it comes to man, there, even these mystics find it hard to find God's presence in another man. That is the problem. We can see God's presence in wolves, snakes, even in mosquitoes we can find God's presence. But in another human being or in another priest who is living in my parish, I don't see. Forget about the priest who is living, my bishop I don't see, unable to see God's presence in him. In the same way in our religious houses, we don't see the same God's presence in the brothers who is living with you in the same house. And also the cook, one who cooks for you. Mostly we get mad only with these people, those who serve you. And the driver, we yell at him. Totagaran, we yell at him. Everything, those who serve us, we get mad and we get angry and we yell at them. But we love to see Ambani and they are good people, we say. Pope Francis is excellent. We always talk about faraway people, they are good, excellent, as if you lived with them. If they live with you for 1 week, you will hate them also. Yeah. You want, even Mother Teresa, no? Mother Teresa is a saint. You ask the sisters, those who lived with Mother Teresa, they will tell you who she was. So that is the fact. That is the fact. We are unable to see God's presence with the people with whom we relate. We enter into a relationship. There comes the big trouble. Transcendence and immanence can be applied to the two terms I'm using there. Are you a bystander or are you a upstander? Actually, if you are only transcendence-oriented person, chances are you are going to remain only as a bystander. When you are able to see God's presence, the immanent God in creation and in another human being, then you become an upstander. Yes. It's very profound words here. So we have been, with all our education and training in Christianity, especially those who are in positions like me, like you, we were only bystanders. Yes. We never into upstanding realm. No. What is the bystander? A person who is standing near and sees something that happens without being involved in it. That is what we were. We are most of the, but there are people, there are upstanders also in our religious congregations, Mother. So many people, good examples I can give. But majority of us are bystanders. Who is upstander? A person who speaks or acts in support of an individual or cause. Particularly someone who intervenes on behalf of a person being attacked or bullied. Good example is Jesus Christ. because he was able to see God's presence in creation. That's why he told, look at the birds. He can see the manifestation of God himself. Look at the lilies of the field. And he was taking care of the blind, hungry, and the lame, and the possessed, lepers, because he was able to see God's presence in them. So that's why he was an upstander. He wanted to do something for them. So I think when you see God, I think there is a big shift happens from bystander to upstander. So I think in this area we need to contemplate. Pope Francis is giving good example from Fratelli Tutti for these two types of people, bystander, upstander. Brother, can you read this one for us? Fratelli Tutti 63. You just put it all, you a bystander or you a upstander. It's a checklist for before holding for us high positions, for us checklist. You know, when the flight is about to take off, pilot and first officer, they go through a series of checklists, about 9 or 10 things, flaps, fuel, like that. So this is a checklist I'm giving you before we start our retreat. So we are all pilots getting ready to fly. So brother is going to read for us the checklist, please.
Checklist for people holding high positions. Fratelli 3:63. Jesus tells the story of a man assaulted by thieves and lying injured on the wayside. Several persons passed him by, but failed to stop. These were people holding important social positions, yet lacking in real concern for the common good. They would not wait or even in calling for help. Only one person stopped, approached the man and cared for him personally, even spending his own money to provide for his needs. He also gave him something that in our frenetic world we cling to tightly. He gave him his time. Certainly he had his own plans for that day, his own needs, commitments and desires. Yet he was able to put all that aside when confronted with someone in need. Without even knowing the injured man, he saw him as deserving of his time and attention.
That's right. The first part, you know very well, there is the bystander. Actually, Pope Francis puts all of us in that slot because we are unable to see the immanent God in that wounded person. But the second one is the upstander. So he sees all this stuff. Of course, the Good Samaritan doesn't know what is Trinitarian structure, dynamism and key. He doesn't know. But he knows that a man, he needs my help. He needs my help. He is my brother. Yeah. Who is my neighbor? Because he becomes a brother. Neighbor becomes a brother, or brother becomes a neighbor. Otherwise, we will just associates. That's what Pope Francis calls it. Globalization doesn't make us brothers. It makes us associates, yes, but doesn't make brothers. So that is a very profound word. So the very early reference, probably in the world or in India, that is safe to say that in India, goes to the Katha Upanishads in the 5th century BC, where we find the concept of the immanent God. It's very profound. It's very profound. You know, Vajrasava Vasa, the father of Nashiketa, he offers gifts to God. What kind of gifts? All useless. The cows, they have taken the last meal. Old age, he gives to God. Everything old chicken, like Cain in our Christian story, where all bad stuff. So he gives all the thing, useless stuff, good for nothing. And the Nachiketa looks at his father and asks, to whom you are going to give me? He asked one time, he doesn't answer. Second time, to whom you are going to give me? Give to, what is that? Give me to, yeah. And then he is very silent. The third time, to whom you are going to give me? Then at last he says, of course to the death. He gets mad. Of course to the death, to Yama. Then he goes to Yama, Nachiketa goes to Yama. And he asks to teach him. He waits for 3 days, and then Yama was out on the errands and he comes back. 3 days he waited without food. And then he took pity on him. Okay, Nachiketa, I appreciate your patience and I want to give you 3 boons. Okay, you ask anything, I will give you. Then Nachiketa asks, one boon, when I go back home, my father will be mad. And because 3 days I was out of the house, and make my father patient and let him be good to me. Then he says, granted. Then the second boon, he asked, I want to understand the mysteries of the sacrifice, the Rig Veda. Okay, in other words, says, done, I give you that knowledge. The last one, only one boon is left. And what is it? And Nachiketa asks, what happens after death? What happens when the body dies? That is the question he asks. And Yama doesn't answer. He says, even the gods don't know what happens. That is the answer he gives. Even the gods don't know what happens after the death. And at last he gives the famous sermon called Atman and Brahman. In other words, your self is eternal like God himself. You don't die. Only your body goes away, but your self is eternal, omnipotent, omnipresent, all-knowing, all-pervading, the same attributes of God. So the individual, the self merges with the Brahman. So that is the knowledge we gain from the Katha Upanishad. Such a beautiful. In other words, we are the manifestation of God. That is the point. Atman is the manifestation of God himself. That is the ultimate knowledge. So see, O Nachiketa, the moon's soft light, the stars so bright, the glorious orb of the day, he shines in them. His beauty, might, reflected lights are they. The majestic morning, the melting evening, the boundless below we see. In nature's beauty, songs of birds, you will see through them. It is the Brahman. Brahman. In other words, everything is the manifestation of God. Actually, we agree there. No problem. We see everything is a manifestation. But only my brother, it comes, I can't see, he is the manifestation of God. There comes the big trouble, big trouble. So that is the area we should be more concerned instead of talking about many things here. In Hindu tradition, in Bhagavad Gita, beautiful Arjuna asks Krishna, I want to see the real form of God. Lord Supreme, I desire to see your Ishvara form, the real form. Then he says, behold here today the whole universe of the moving and unmoving and whatever else you desire to see, all integral of my body. Wow. She inflates to the size of the universe. Here I am, sun, moon. Everything is the manifestation of God. So this is the ultimate example for that immanent God concept, chapter 11 of Bhagavad Gita. You should read also Bhagavad Gita also to be integral. Pope Francis is saying integral means we need to integrate everything. Not only integrate people and communities, integrate scriptures, knowledge, truth, etc., etc. Manika Vasagar, you all know Tamil, he said it beautifully in the 7th century. Mahanagi, Mannagi, Valiyagi, Oliyagi, Unagi, Uiragi, Manidanagi, he never said. Everybody has the difficulty in approving the presence of God in human. Nobody says that, yeah. So anyway, I put it there. Maybe in future we can see that. Unmayumai, God, you are the truth. Lie, in my mind. God, you are also lie, also you. Truth also you, lie also you. So everything is the manifestation of God. Annie Besson puts it so beautifully. Brother, read it.
God is immanent in every atom, all pervading, all sustaining, all evolving. He is his source and his end, his cause and his object, his center and his substance. It is built on him as its foundation. It breathes in him as its encircling space. He is everything and everything in him.
Yeah, last week I went to Madanapalli in Andhra Pradesh, where there is the Theosophical College in Madanapalli, where Janagana Mana Adino Ayake Rabindranath Tagore translated into English. First time it was sung in Madanapalli. So that is the place I went last week. So Annie Besson quote is so beautiful, so beautiful. How did she understand that? Such a beautifully she writes the aspect of the immanent God. So Laudato Si, Pope Francis is writing brilliantly at last. 2015, this is the ultimate statement from Pope Francis, inviting all of us to see that presence in creation. Come on.
The prologue of the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verses 1 to 18, reveals Christ's creative work as the divine word. But then, unexpectedly, the prologue goes on to say that the same word became flesh. John chapter 1, verses 4. One person of the Trinity entered into the created cosmos, throwing his lot with it, even to the cross. From the beginning of the world, but particularly through the incarnation, the mystery of Christ is at work in a hidden manner in the natural world as a whole, without thereby impinging on his autonomy.
Excellent, excellent. See, such a brilliantly, even the Gospels, they were testifying to this fact, but how come we rejected all that 2000 years? I can't imagine. How come? Early church fathers practiced this, but only somewhere we lost everything. Jesus' quote is so beautiful. Directly is connecting. The thing what we are struggling to find God in another human person, Jesus at the very start makes an example of it. You should find first God's presence in another human being. Your brother who is living next to you in your own community, the priest who lives in my diocese, the people those who live behind my presbytery. So there we need to find God's presence. So if you find God's presence, you become a sheep. If you don't find Him, you become a goat. It's very simple. So, brother, can you read? If you don't want to read, you can skip it to another person. You can pass the ball. All right? Brother, you want to read? Okay, pass the ball. For I was, yeah.
Matthew chapter 25 verses 35, that is sheep and goat. For I was hungry, and he gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and he gave me something to drink. I was stranger,
Okay, this text refers to bystander or upstander? Upstander, very natural, upstander. So, why can't we fail to be upstander in our own community? What makes us to fail there? So that is the question I want to raise here. Mother Teresa beautifully puts it. Next, brother. Yeah.
Seeking the face of God in everything, everyone all the time, and His hand in every happening. This is what it means to be contemplative in the heart of the world, seeing and adoring the presence of Jesus, especially in the lowly appearance of bread and in the distressing disguise of the poor.
I think bread, not bread, dead, isn't it? Lowly appearance of dead, I think so. How come bread came there? But anyway, this is the beautiful quote, directly connected to this text. Directly connected, 100%. Wow. Gandhi also puts it nicely, brother.
Only
Oh, yeah.
the term virgin or children of God was coined by Nation Mehta, a Gujarati poet saint of the Fakir tradition, to refer to all devotees of Krishna, irrespective of caste, class, or sex. Mahatma Gandhi, known by notably an admirer of Mata's work, first used the word in the context of identified Dalit in 1933.
That's right. Even Mahatma Gandhi saw God's presence in the lowly people, like suffering and hunger, sideline people. That's good. Matthew 25:40 at last reveals actually these people are the personification of God Himself. So that is the disclosure we get. The king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Wow. Paragraph number 85, Pope Francis reflects the same idea here. Okay, brother, continue read for Christians. Okay, next, brother. Brother, for Christians? You want? Yeah.
The king will reply,
Okay.
truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did it for me. For Christians, the words of Jesus have an even deeper meaning. They compel us to recognize Christ Himself in each of our abandoned and excluded brothers and sisters.
Excellent. Fratelli tutti. That is also directly connected to the quote. So Shakespeare, he saw it. He was a Gnostic. He was an atheist. I mean, Shakespeare was not a believer. As such a person, in 1616, he could see God's presence in everything. He rejected the transcendental notion of God, but he admitted the presence of God's immanence. So that is the quote here. I will explain it to you because you are all academists and also well-informed people, qualified. This quote is excellent. Tongues and trees, books in the running brooks, sermon in stones, and good in everything, and I will not change it. As you like it, I too seen one. Tongues and trees, he says, Ashoka tree, it has got like a tongue, the leaves. So, oh God, I see your tongue in the trees. They talk to me all the time. Books in the running waters or brooks. So in the water, the murmur of the water, we can call it, the water is talking to me. Oh God, you are talking through the running of the streams. Sermons and stones. Wow, that is the ultimate writing. Nobody has written before. Every stone talks to me. Volumes they talk. Sermons in stones. When you touch, that is E is equal to MC squared. A lot of energy there. Lot of information there. Lot of sermons there. And you sit on the stone, you gain wisdom. You reflect on stones, you gain wisdom. In fact, the last day I will take you to contemplate on stones. And that is the last day of my, presentation. That day I will take you to see the stones, to explain sermon in stones. In other words, God is speaking. Stone is packed with God's wisdom and good in everything, and I will not change it. I wish COP 26 has given this quote to all the world leaders. Of course, they will not grasp anything. We know that. So, and good in everything. Everything reflects good because that is the manifestation of you, because it is good. God found it was good. We find it is good because it reflects God Himself. Everything looks good. I will not change it. That means I will not destroy it. That is the wisdom. I will never alter it. I will never impinge on that. I will never manipulate that. Yeah. Shakespeare. Brilliant quote. Fratelli tutti, universal fraternity on solidarity and social friendship. You read for yourself, because I'm not going to read this for you. Number one, you read it. Pope Francis is telling, that words, solidarity and social friendship. Solidarity means sarvodaya. I wish the upliftment of everything. That is solidarity here. Common good, in other words, common good. Opposite to self-interest. So far, humans have been exercising only self-interest. The outcome is ecological crisis. All life on earth, 4.5 billion years, they were doing only one thing, one goal, common interest, good of the universe. That's why they could achieve human beings. We are the last to come. So we are the achievement of that solidarity. And social friendship is nothing but if you are able to treat your brother here well in the community where you live, you will be able to talk good about the brother who is living in another community. Imagine, we talk about many brothers now, those who didn't come for retreat. The brothers, those who came in the first batch, they would have talked about you. You are going to talk about that, brothers. That is how it is. Even in retreat, we go, priests only talk about, they make a target those who did not come. They will crucify those priests. And only at least 4 days we talk about bishops only. Everybody talks about bishop, negative only, good, no. And then they talk about the priests, those who did not come. And then those who do some activities, they criticize them. That's it. This is the retreat, what we have made. I am 38 years priest now, going on to 39 years. That is how I experienced. So we also do the same thing. You can talk good about the brother who is not here present. He is in Rome, for example, your general. So if you are talking good about him, naturally you are getting along fine with the local community brothers. If you criticize him, that means you are not doing well here. Yeah, that's why you are criticizing him. So this is how things are. How you treat the brother in front of your eyes, that is how you treat the brother. That is the paragraph. You read for yourself. You write, as much when he is far away from him as when he is with him. So this paragraph is very important. Francis' fidelity to his Lord was commensurate with his love for his brothers and sisters. Whoever claims to love God yet hates a brother or sister is a liar. For whoever does not love their brother and sister whom they have seen cannot love God, whom they have not seen. So we have come to the end of the talk. Now, checklist for the sheep and goats. Who are the sheep and who are the goats here? I don't know. You have to identify. Okay? So, I've given you the text here. See, sinners, I call it. That's goats. Color red. See the you insert not when you make an examination of conscience. Then the righteous will answer him, if you are a goat, you consider yourself sinner. Lord, when did we not see you hungry? Those sinners, not see you hungry. Those who are righteous, you can say, when did we see you hungry, Lord? Those who are righteous, you are thinking too much about yourself if you are brand yourself a righteous. So I think, Brother George, we can remove all the statues in the church and we can make a statue out of these brothers and put them in the church. Righteous. So this is how you examine your stuff. The last quote, 44, it is direct. Then they also will answer saying, Lord, when did we see? There is a direct, the quote, text. But I have given you the previous text to differentiate the goats and the sheep in the same paragraph. Fratelli Tutti 64. Which of these persons do you identify with? The priest, those three people, those who went ignored, the wounded man, no? Which of these people or persons do you identify with? This question, blunt as it is direct and incisive. Which of these characters do you resemble? We need to acknowledge that we are constantly tempted to ignore others, especially the weak. Let us admit that for all the progress we have made, we are still illiterate when it comes to accompanying, caring for, and supporting the most frail and vulnerable members of our developed societies. We have become accustomed to looking the other way, just a bystander, passing by, ignoring situations until they affect us directly. So today your extra reading will be paragraph number Fratelli Tutti 65 to 68. All right? So now, when we come back this afternoon, we will go deep inside the immanent God concept. So far, I have been trying to focus only on human. You should be able to see human person also the manifestation of God. It is worth it because we live with other human beings in our community. So this kind of discourse, of course, is needed. So that's why I thought of giving it. But anyway, I'm giving you the book, that book which was written by me.